Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Phone Booth Fighting, Corona Quarantine Chronicles edition. Not only that, Frank and I have been doing that for a while now, ever since the coronavirus has been wreaking havoc on everybody. But today we're trying a couple of extra things. One, we're streaming live on YouTube on our Phone Booth Fighting Facebook page. Nobody knows we're there, but somebody, actually, there's a couple of people over there, but hopefully we'll have some more jump in. I just tweeted out that we're on live, so hopefully we'll have a few people come over and join us in the live chat. And also, right there in the center square, Frank, where Paul Lynn used to sit, that's a reference that probably predates both of you. It's Porno Mikey. Porno Mikey is back.
Hey guys, how's it going? Yep.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
How's it with the new baby at the house, huh?
It's good. Yeah, she gets her shots, her vaccines on Friday, so we're almost 2 months old. It's been flying by. Yeah.
We should back up for a second here because when we last left off, the world knew that Porno Mikey and Mrs. Porno Mikey were about to have a baby. Yeah. And really right about that time is when everything shut down. Yeah. So baby was born. Frank and I talked about it, said that it had happened and everything was all good. And where are we at now, Mikey? Couple of 2 or 3 months? Where are we at here?
Yeah, we'll be she'll be 2 months Friday or Saturday. So she was born March 2nd, 4:55 p.m. 2 days past her original due date. Everything went great, but we had a C-section. But other than that, she's been fine, super healthy, and yeah, everything's been going good. And it's it's kind of weird with all the quarantine. When you have a baby, like they can't go anywhere until they get their vaccines at 2 months, I guess. Anyway, so we were prepared kind of to be on lockdown anyway. I mean, obviously, I wanted to was going to be going to work and all that. And we were also prepared for Amanda to not work. So it's really, weirdly enough, we were prepared for a lockdown, kind of, not as bad and as restricted. But, yeah, that's all we've been doing. And so I've been on Corona paternal leave, I guess, the whole 2 months.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the C-section, baby. You can see how well everything turned out here. And secondly, man, what if, Frank and I were talking about that, like how it's pretty cool that, you got the kind of maternity leave by default. Because otherwise you probably had to have been back at work.
Yeah, I was going to take, basically I work on call so basically I was going to shut my phone off for a week was the original plan and then turn it back on and see what happens. And, I was losing gigs in January, like corporate kind of stuff, because a lot of like these tech companies, their chips and all this come from like the Wuhan district in China. So I guess the good thing is that I filed for unemployment early because we were losing gigs, and a couple of the guys said, "Yo, you should hit up unemployment and sign in." So I did that. Then I had a hockey game booked for the Knights, I think the 13th or something. And so something like that. And then I was like, well, I guess that's going to be my first date back because all the conventions and stuff are canceled. And I was like, there's no way they're not going to cancel hockey. Like, come on, that's going to keep going. And then a couple days right before that, boom, that was shut down too. And so I'm like, well, I got, Amanda's going to have a lot of help around the house, whether she likes it or not. So,
Mikey, if this keeps going, the only place that's going to be left for you to work is Fight Island.
Yeah. I have to put my resume in and, I don't know, get a boat or something. I don't know how to get there.
We got some butch jumping in on YouTube chat. We'll be reading some comments. Tweeted out that we were going to go live. Wanted to contest this thing. Experiment a little bit with it. So go to Calif Love over there. Thanks for coming on. Joe H is checking in. Here's a question from Joe H, Frank. Frank, when you thinking about doing a PPW appearance in Hazleton? I have no idea what that means. Do you? Careful,
PPW?
careful. PPW. Careful how you answer. You may be committing yourself to something homoerotic here.
I know the show. It was one with I think me and Austin went out to.
Oh,
I don't know. I think everybody now is just on. When it comes to wrestling, fighting, everything, I'm in the same boat with everybody else. We got to wait to find out when we get on the other side of this when everything's opening up.
Oh, there you go. Okay, pro wrestling. Got it. Okay, there you go, Joe. You like doing pro wrestling, though, right, Frank? You do that again.
Yeah, I like it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot more difficult than I had ever first gave it credit for.
Yeah. Let's see. Andy Wright checking in on YouTube. Huge fan of Frank Mir. You were one of the first fighters I followed in the UFC back in the day. Hey, here's one for me. Green 49285 says, "Damn, Rich, looking sexy." Although a screen name like Green 49285, that does sound a little bit like a Russian bot, though, doesn't it? I might be getting catfished here.
Yeah, I like the beard. I think the beard's selling.
Maybe that's it. All right. Do you know that the beard is now risen to the level that I'm oiling it up? I got beard oil working now.
Yeah.
I got beard oil working now, and I got clippers with different card numbers and stuff like that. It's all happening. Mikey doesn't sweat any of that stuff. He just lets that beard's freak flag fly, right,
Yeah,
Mikey?
I just let it go. I weirdly enough, I was late for an interview to my job interview to when I first worked in porn, and I was running late, and I didn't shave, and I just haven't shaved since. And that's
Really?
how. Yeah. Yep. So that's how I.
That's it.
Yeah, I was running late. It was like, yeah, fuck it. I was like, yeah, it's a porn. It's a job for porn. Like, do they really care if I'm super, cleaned up and shaved or whatever?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll just head out the door, and then I just sort of never shaved again.
We got to see a
Okay,
picture of Mikey without the beard, just because you see those guys that have to shave now, especially some guys that have to do it because being with the PP the masks you have to have.
Yeah.
N95s, they only work if you have a proper seal. So I've seen a couple guys on the internet, beards shows them shaving it, and one they look like an alpha lion and with the beard, and they shave it, they look like they can't even buy a beer,
Yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely gives me, I definitely would have more than one chin without a beard. So I'm rocking this as long, until I get down to, whatever, one chin weight, then maybe I'll think about it. But until then, this is staying.
Well, that's interesting because, see, I didn't know that beard marked any passage of time or anything. So sort of like my beard, because I had the same thing. Like I had the razor in hand.
Yeah.
When I got the call that the Haunted Museum, we were closing for Corona, got that call, and I'm like, boom, put it down. And I didn't really make the conscious decision, okay, I'm not going to shave at all. But I was like, well, I guess I don't need to be shaving this morning. And I just put the razor down. And so that kind of marks that moment in time. But I didn't realize your beard marked the porn career. That's interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Frank, a couple of more comments from YouTube. Let's see here. California Love Frank wants to know how your kids are keeping busy and are they training at home?
Yep. We train twice a day right now. In the mornings, we're doing always weight training. And then in the evenings and stuff, Bella trains with me. We do, martial arts training. My son, he'll go and him and my two boys will they play pass together, football. They get out in the field and run. We'll do that.
And what do they keep busy with? We've talked. California may be new to our stream. And by the way, folks, if you don't already know about this is a little free sampling of what Frank and I are doing on a semi-daily basis, and that's our Patreon page. You'll see the banner right there across the bottom of the screen, patreon.com/phone booth fighting. You can go over there, subscribe to the page, and we're putting up semi-daily episodes in the free one that we do every week for going on 5 years now. And in fact, Frank and Mikey, if you join up right now at E level, we are going to send you this incredibly creative Corona quarantine sticker. Let me flash this up here for everybody. In fact, they are arriving in the mail today. So, everybody can check this out. Boom, there it is. Can you see that, guys?
Yeah.
The stay home sticker. Now, Frank, tell everybody what that image is from. What do you remember about it?
That's when we were in Arizona, wasn't it?
Yep. But what did we went down there to see Doug Stanhope.
What was the joke behind it? I don't remember now, to be honest.
Yeah, so
why were we being funny in the room?
Right. So Frank and I down there to visit our comedian friend Doug Stanhope, and we were staying at his next door neighbor's house, Morgan Murphy, who was a writer on Roseanne at the time. So she was out of town. She was in LA working on the show, and she was nice enough to let us stay in her house. And Doug thought it would be funny for us to take a picture of us with crap spread out all over the place, going through her pantry, and basically trying to make her regret her hospitality. And yeah, it's one of the pictures that we took. But it's funny because as soon as all this started happening, that picture immediately came to mind. I was like, Frank, if you and I were quarantined together, that's probably what it would look like.
Pretty much.
So if you join our Patreon page right now, I'll put it up there once again for you at patreon.com/phone booth fighting. Join at any level, and Frank and I'll send you one of those stickers. I'll put it right in the mail to you because they're actually supposed to get here today, as I said. So we'd be happy to have you join us over there. All right, let me get that off the screen and put Mikey back up there. There he is. There's Mikey. All right. I have, Frank and I got a story for everybody that I think Frank in particular is going to be able to relate to. We talked on the phone a little bit last night, and I was telling him what was going on. We'll get back to the chat here and just going to see you guys have some more questions. I'll read. So just be there for 1 sec. Okay, Frank, you got a phone call from me last night because originally we were going to tape last night, and just tell everybody what I told you was happening.
Well, you told me you had a little bit of a plumbing issue because we're supposed to get on the phone at 5 o'clock, and you're like, hey, we might be running a little bit behind. I'm at Lowe's. I'm like, no big deal. I'll go to the gym from 6 to 8 with Bella. We'll be back. Let's just go then. So when I texted you about 8:15, of course, I was late leaving. You were like, man, I got water in the fridge is coming out of the ice maker. I'm on the phone with Mikey trying to figure out, how to, basically fix this issue. And that's when we shared the story of like, yeah, you probably made about 5 or 6 trips to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And you've only made a bigger problem. That's why I'm not very handy. I just end up always paying somebody else. It's cheaper to have them. When people sit there, it's cheaper to do it yourself. I'm all, maybe for you, but in my experience, it ends up costing me more money. I cut out the middleman and just pay somebody who knows what they're doing first and foremost.
Frank and I, neither one are handymen, to say the least. Mikey is so.
To be honest with you.
Boy, that's not saying much at all. But Mikey is so handy that he makes up for both of us, Frank. He's got like the handyman strength of 3 men. Right? Okay. So, and you, Frank, last night on the phone, like you immediately took me back a scarring memory of my youth. Because you said, tell me what you said about your dad. Like you'd watch your dad try to fix something.
Yeah, my father, when he came home from Cuba, he was raised by his grandparents. And so he also didn't have a lot of experience learning how to, do things around the house. His dad wasn't around. And so my dad was basically, it's funny. He's actually extremely handy now. But I was there as a child watching him actually develop all the skills, trial and error. So I remember him, it'd be like a light switch that needed to be fixed. And before I knew it, there'd be 15 trips to Home Depot, and half the wall would be torn out. And you'd have floodlights in the room, and he'd be working till the early morning hours. It was supposed to be a 30-minute quick fix, and found out, okay, well, no, this wasn't the right switch for this because the last homeowner did it this, and then you find out they wired it the wrong way, and now you got to do this. But if you're going to rewire that the correct way, it goes down the whole chain, and you got to redo this, and now you got to update this if you're going to put this on the system. And it was just a whole Pandora's box. It seemed like every time you went to do something. So it wasn't very motivating me as a kid. I was like, I just gonna make sure I make enough money in life that I can avoid that, because that just looks awful.
My dad was exactly the same. Tell me if your dad was like this. This is how my dad was, Frank. Not only would he do that, but he would refuse to admit defeat.
Yeah, my dad, he doesn't like anything to get the better of him. So he would definitely chase that rabbit down the hole. And, it ended up paying off in the long run. I mean, now the guy, he owns a couple of different properties and he's his own handyman. But, I definitely saw the growing pains.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you said that last night in the car, I was like, oh God, that's exactly what my dad would do. And I remembered that. And I was when I was talking to you, I was on my third trip to Lowe's at the time. So I involved Mikey late last night. In fact, I did the dreaded FaceTime. Mikey, let me ask you a question before I tell you what happened. And there is a payoff to this story, boys, that came about midday today. I'll get to here in a second. But you get the double whammy, Mikey, because number one, you're super handy. Yeah. And also you have a truck. And so the truck friend is the one who gets hit up to move. The handyman friend is like the only thing that can compare to that is when you're the IT friend. The one who can always fix the computer problem.
Right.
You got to dread when that call comes in with some know-nothing like one of us.
Yeah, I'm always at my most popular around the end of the month, when leases are up. All of a sudden, I'm everyone's best friend when their lease is up. So, but yeah.
All right. So basically what happens is this. Jennifer and I noticed early yesterday that there's a little bit of water coming out from underneath the refrigerator. Pull the refrigerator out, and we noticed that there's it's not like a big bottle of water. It's just like a little drop every once in a while, but the line to the ice maker is leaking. Now, we don't use the ice maker. I don't have a use for it. So, and if I do need ice, I just put some ice trays in there. So I was like, okay, no problem. Let's just disconnect the thing and we'll be done with that. So I go to look at it, and
do you have an ice maker? You use ice trays?
No, I don't use it either. We just don't put ice in anything. Neither one of us are particularly big fans of ice. Yeah, not really. But no, I'm just saying if I did need, I would just prefer to have the ice trays as opposed to the ice maker to eliminate this issue. But so it's a copper line coming out of the wall, running water directly into the refrigerator. So I go to look at it, and there's no way to turn the water off. You can't. I mean, you can unscrew it, but then water is going to shoot out everywhere. So I was like, So I go to Lowe's and I say, hey, by the way, Mikey, I did what you do, though. I went on YouTube first. Yeah. And I saw people who looked like they knew what they were doing with very serious beards themselves saying, yeah, you just go get this quick connect cap thing and you put it on the end of the copper line and it snaps in place and you're done. I was like, okay, sounds easy enough. The video only was like a minute and a half long. So I asked the guy in the hardware section, I said, just give me every size, because I knew they were closing early and I couldn't take a piece of it with me to size it up. So I'm like, just give me every size you got and I'll bring back the ones that aren't the right fit. So, okay, no problem. They give them to me. I'm home. I unscrew the thing. All of them are too small. Or too big, rather. All of them are too big. That's when I call Mikey. Now, at this point, Frank, Lowe's is closed. I got to go to Walmart. And Mikey, you recommended what at that point?
I said probably your best bet for a stopgap would be like Flex Seal, just to close it and maybe buy you some time to do a proper fix. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Frank, have you ever used the Flex Seal or Flex Tape, the guy that advertises his stuff on television? You seen that guy?
Oh, and I have seen it. Okay.
Yeah. I would not trust that guy any more than I would trust the MyPillow guy if I hadn't gotten the recommendation from Mikey. But Mikey told me, and Travis too, who was our original. You know, when we hire a producer, Frank, we need him to be able to produce a podcast, but we also need to be able to plug a hole in a rowboat, right? I mean, that's just something we look for. And Travis, our original producer, had that handyman ability too, didn't he? He could build stuff pretty well too.
He's definitely much more stereotypical of a man's man in that area.
Yeah. So he had recommended way back when that Flex Seal stuff to me too. So anyway, so I go get it. Mikey, I get home. I got the Flex tube, the seal, and the tape. I went in on both of them. I fill that silicone stuff up in the copper tube.
Yeah.
Then I put the Flex tape around it, right?
Yeah.
I go and turn the water back on. Boom, shoots right off it. Water's going everywhere in the kitchen. And I mean pouring everywhere in the kitchen.
Shit.
And I got Jennifer on inside the kitchen. I'm out by the disconnect, and I got her doing the turn it off. So turn it off, mop it up. Now, next, Frank, what would you do here? Okay. I'm just curious. Let's do a little role play. You're in this position. Calling the plumber in the middle of the night is not an option. It's just you.
Took away that option?
Yeah. You're in the same boat I'm in. What do you do?
Okay.
And keep in mind, if the water's turned off, no toilets, no water, no dishwasher, no washing machine. I mean, you got to have a plan in case people need to be using the loo between now and in the morning.
I guess I would go ahead and just put it inside of a bucket for a second, turn all the water on so we can use the toilets and stuff, and just I would tell, hey, Jen, take a quick shower real fast, and then I'll take a quick shower, 2-minute shower, and we'll just turn the water back off, and that way it just doesn't make that much of a mess. Good
thinking. Now, this water is coming out so fast, it will fill up that. I mean, you'll literally have 2 minutes, and then that bucket's going to hose. I put the hose on that copper tube. I run the other end of the garden hose out into the yard, put it on a cactus that needs watering, and figured, hey, I mean, it's a little bit of a waste of water, but if we're having to in an emergency, at least I'm watering a plant. Huh? Mikey, so far, what do you about this? Frank and I putting our heads together here.
They're not bad emergency plans. You run the water out. What sucks is that water line to your fridge is so high pressure that it really it's probably going to blow the hose off is what I'm guessing this is going. And also like you said, the bucket is going to fill up quick. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do with, so, but both of those are logical, guesses and some things to do.
The bucket is going to fill up quick, and the water pressure is going to blow the hose off the line, Mikey. Bingo and bingo. It's almost as if he could see into the future, Frank. This is uncanny what he can do here. You're absolutely right. So now, and by the way, between this back and forth, 3 trips to Lowe's and 1 to Walmart, I am in, at this point, it's 11 o'clock evening. I'm probably 8 hours into this whole back and forth, and nothing is working. Okay. So, and by the way, poor Jennifer, just out of instinct, she's doing things like turning the dishwasher on. She actually turned on a load of laundry, and then it was like, oh, I guess you have to have water to do the laundry. It's not occurring to either one of us. All right. So now I've got the water turned off, and what we're going to have to resort to is we make a pact between the two of us that if either one of us needs to use the facilities, one of us will go out and turn the water on just long enough for that to be used. I'm going to take an empty 5-gallon jug that our bottled water comes in, put it on that thing, and then I'm at least going to pour the water back into the tank of the toilet so it's not a complete waste. But that is I mean, we may as well be living out on the prairie at this point, right? I mean, this is like going out and pumping the water handle, right, to get something going. Okay, that was the night that we lived through. I mean, can you imagine? Boy, talk about first problems. I'm sure there is some villager somewhere in Africa that would be listening to this just shaking their head like, oh, yeah, poor you. So that gets us to today. So I get up and I say to myself, okay, I'm going to head to Lowe's. Oh, I forgot to mention the soldering iron. When I was at Walmart, Frank, I got a soldering iron because I got the bright idea that I would solder the copper piping tube closed. Okay. Would you, first of all, would you be so brave as to try something like that? Would you want to try to solder the tube closed? No?
No, nothing where I've seen people go to the emergency room over with burning their hands and stuff. Yeah. I think soldering irons I would stay away from when people start mentioning what they are. And what is that thing? A sawzall?
Oh, the sawzall.
Yeah, that's another tool that when people break that out, I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm gonna stay over here.
Yeah.
It seems like that's every time someone ends up losing a finger, it's over one of those things. So.
Well, I was briefly considering trying to solder the copper tubing closed, Mikey.
Yeah.
But would it surprise you to find out, and I think I know the answer to this, would it surprise you, Mikey, to find out that there are two known different types of solder, and the type that Walmart sells is not the type that you use for copper piping?
Yeah, I think, I was telling you over the phone.
Oh.
I don't remember what it's called or what kind you need. But I know soldering copper is a lot different and I don't know if it's harder, but it's just definitely different and harder than soldering like wires together for like electronics and stuff. And most people going to Walmart, they would need to solder. They're like fixing their stereo or they're like doing something on the motherboard of their computer and they need to solder that together. Like soldering copper is a little more of an art form and it's a level up, you know. It's not white belt soldering. It's, blue or purple or brown belt.
And that's
soldering. Yeah,
that's exactly what I need to be getting involved in at 11 p.m. on a Monday night. All right, so that soldering iron went ahead and bought it, but it didn't even come out of the packaging. That's going back to work.
You need the benzomatic, like the little propane torch, really, and then the solder copper. Yeah.
Interesting, you brought that up.
Yeah.
Okay, because now it is Tuesday morning, boys, and I get up and I head down to Lowe's. Now, I don't get the same guy that helped me yesterday. Get a different guy that's working the section. Same plumbing specialist, supposedly, but a different dude. The other guy must have had the day off. I explained my dilemma to him. And he says, well, we do have these, like you said, Mikey, the soldering kit, the benzomatic whole kit is like $20. He showed me, got it over there, and you can certainly get that and try to do it. He goes, but there's probably a connect under your sink. And I said, no, and I'm describing the kitchen to him.
Yeah.
No, you understand, the refrigerator's over on one side of the wall. The kitchen sink is on an island. And he's like, yeah, same thing I got. He's like, probably a water line running from that sink into the wall coming around to your refrigerator.
Huh.
Went ahead and I bought the soldering kit, Frank. Came home, looked under my sink. There's a water shut off under there. For the garbage, for the refrigerator.
Fridge, huh?
Quarter turn, cut the water off.
That's weird. I've never seen that. We lost Frank, huh?
Yeah, he'll come back here in a second.
Okay.
Frank, if you're still on your video, I don't know if you can hear us.
Huh. I've only ever seen where there's a knob at the back of the fridge in the wall. I mean, maybe you're over there in Summerlin. I guess I'm Summerlin adjacent, so maybe that's too fancy for. It's only west. It's only west of Durango or something. They put those in or something.
Well, I'll tell you what. There is nothing fancy about this. I'll tell you that, because I mean, just put the disconnect with the thing that we're talking about. How about we just do that?
Yeah.
Like the washing machine. Turns out right behind the washing machine, there's a little knob.
Yeah.
In case you got to turn your washing machine on.
Yeah.
I mean, where I turn the garden hose off? I turn the garden hose off where the hose connects to the spigot, not around the other side of the house in some random place for some reason. Hang on, you back, Frank? Can you hear us? I can see you, but I can't hear you. Wait, Frank's having some problems over there. All right, we're going to get back to some YouTube questions here as soon as we get Frank back on the line. He'll join us here momentarily. All right. Stand by, guys. If you're streaming live on YouTube, just waiting for Frank to join back in here. I think Frank has 3 teenagers that are all streaming on different devices at the same time. There's something you have to look forward to.
Yeah.
What do you think? Hey, what do you think the first thing is that's going to happen with having a kid where you're like, oh, shit, I didn't think about that part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think that's going to be?
I don't know. I saw someone say that, like, that it was something they posted, like, dogs are not a starter to having a kid. He said, because my dog has never wanted to watch Frozen 47 times. I think that's going to be for me, because right now she's, she doesn't know what's going on, and we can pretty much watch whatever TV we want. I think once she takes over the TV, I think that's going to be like, oh, geez, like, here we go. When I start, humming, Paw Patrol or, Baby Shark or all the kids stuff, I think that's when it's really going to, like, kick in, like, oh, shit, Because, like, right now, she just likes anything. Like, I'll sing her, I Saw a Tiger, and she's like,
oh, yeah.
She loves it, but I don't. But obviously, when she gets old enough to understand, we can't sing those songs to her.
All right, Frank, there's a good question for you. Frank's back in the broadcast now. I just asked Mikey, and you'll know the answer to this, what he thought the first thing was going to be about having a kid that's not that great. Like that first moment where you're like, oh, yeah, the downside, like this part. Do you recall what the first thing is you think that?
Well, what I thought was going to be, or what ended up being one of the downfalls?
Give us both. Give us both. And obviously, nobody's probably looking forward to changing a diaper. I'm not talking about something like that, but I'm talking about like that thing that you were able to, you never considered not being able to do or having to deal with something, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, this person can't drive themselves somewhere or whatever.
Yeah, sleep. That was one thing that I thought was going to be the biggest issue. You always hear these horror stories. They always tell you, a new parent, like, hey, before the baby's born, sleep as much as you can because you never will again, But my kids would wake up in the middle of the night because they were hungry, and, Jennifer would breastfeed her. I would just attach the baby on her or go make a bottle, and, you feed the baby and you go right back to bed. It wasn't as bad as everybody made it seem. They only woke up once a night, The one thing I didn't realize was going to be a pain is when your kids get older, is you are basically a taxi cab service. My kids all, different things that they're doing and stuff. Poor Jen, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes people, ask her now that the kids are getting older, does she ever think about getting a job or, to go do something, get out of the house, and we couldn't do that. I'd have to hire drivers, just because, there's times even now I Uber my kids places because I'll be somewhere and Bella drives and she has her own car, and she'll go pick up Cage, she's grabbing Ronan, and then Cage has to be somewhere and he's at a football field over here and has to get to a play at the school. And I'm like, okay, Cage, where are you at? I'm going to send an Uber your way. And like, that's as crazy as it gets. And we only have, the 3 smaller kids. I can't imagine some of the families that have 6, 7, 8 children, like how I don't know how they make that work.
All right, you're a ways away from that still, Mikey. How does that sound to you?
That definitely, yeah, that's definitely something I didn't even think about. Is you're just a taxi cab service, and you know, Amanda's going back to work here, and so obviously we're probably going to both work. So that's going to be something to think about. I mean, and our plan is, I think we're 100% on having 2, and I think we're about 95% on we want 3. So we're gonna, yeah.
Well, hey, Mike, I
think
got to cut you off, guys. I got to bolt real quick. I got the 6 o'clock. I'm going to be at the gym.
Okay. All right, guys, let's put a wrap on it. I want to thank you for jumping in.
Oh, you guys still talk. I didn't want to interrupt the whole group. If you want to
No. I tell you what, that's okay. Let's do this, Frank. You want to do this again tomorrow?
Yeah, same thing, same time, 5 o'clock.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You're with us right now. We didn't get to your question or what have you. Join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock time, 5 o'clock Vegas time, and we'll do another one of these live. And if Mikey's free to jump in with us again too, if he's up for it or whatever. But anyway, we'll do it again tomorrow. So you guys come back and jump in the chat with us, and we'll do another live one. All right. In the meantime, go over, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/phone booth fighting. Frank, tell them about Amazon Banner and American Shaman. You want to do that?
Yeah, American Shaman is the CBD I use. It's great, guys. I really vouch for it. You can check it out on my Instagram page. I have a link. You can swipe up and get a discount on my page, discount code. Also, by hitting on our banner and clicking on Phone Booth Fighting, you can do all your shopping through Amazon for your wants and needs with a small percentage at no extra cost to you. Comes here and helps us out at the show. And don't forget, if you like Kratom, Mitrospex, company to use.
And what about the banner?
I'm sorry, what?
Hey, what about the Amazon banner?
Oh, I thought I said it. Did I come through?
I don't think so. Did I miss it?
Yeah.
Maybe you did. Sorry, my mistake. All right, go to phoneboothfighting.com. All the banners are right there in case you forget any of it. They're right there for you. Everybody for joining us live, and we'll be right back here tomorrow with you guys. All right?
All right, man. See you guys tomorrow.
See you.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
All right, see you.